going live. No intro. No nothing. It's just your main man, Uncle Freezy, the number one Mets fan ever. Right? The number one Mets fan ever. As I start talking, man, I don't know why I always do this when I get to the Mets channel. I guess because everything else sports related, I kind of know it like off the top of my head, right? Um Man, so we have a lot of stuff that we need to talk about, right? A lot of stuff that we need to talk about, right? A lot of stuff that we need to talk about. So I'm gonna chill for a second and let the homies know that we out here, and then give me about, I want to get about 30 seconds because I just sent up the bat signal. JJ is in the building. Bim, the Mets talk, bro. The Mets talk is gonna be, it's definitely gonna be a little bit different from the Knicks talk. Hey, so JJ, I want to talk to you guys about why we missed out on Correa is a bad thing, but why us missing out on Correa is not going to kill the season, right? Because we missed out on Carlos Correa, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? So we missed out on Carlos Correa, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. Because here's the thing: knowing who our owner is, if the risk was worth taking, he would have done it. I don't look at the Carlos Correa thing as a failure. I look at the Carlos Correa thing as we're kind of upset in the moment, but long term, I think we're in a better place. Now, could we use Gold Glove defense, a 300 average and 30 home runs at third base? Yes. Could we use that for the next 7 years? Yes. Right? And so JJ says if reports are true, they use the same doctor as San Francisco Giants. That's malpractice. Right. I'm not for sure. You know what? The thing is with this, if they use the same doctor, it's only a bad thing if it's like a local doctor somewhere. Now, if this guy was an expert doctor in his field, which I think the Giants and the Mets would look at using since they're going to invest $300 million in a guy, then I don't blame them. Right? I don't blame them. Now, would I have chosen another guy? Yes. But if this orthopedist is an expert in his field and he went in and re-examined and he threw up these red flags, yeah. And so the word out on the street is Carlos Correa with this ankle is not, we're not talking about can he steal bases when he's 35. They're talking like when this dude gets 30, 36, 37, will he be able to walk? Now, for some of us, I'm like, I don't care if he can walk, if he can hit, right? But from what they're saying, the thing with the Giants and the thing with the Mets is it's not an issue about him having arthritis when he's 50. They're talking about this guy's quality of life may be damaged. He's a ticking time bomb. You read my mind. Yeah, you read my mind. Okay, yeah, JJ, you read my mind. It's like this thing is a ticking time bomb. And do you want to invest? Do you want to pay this guy all that money? Okay, I just got a text from We Talk Hawks. Shout out to We Talk Hawks. Um, yeah, man, it's a thing where we expect it to be year 8, year 9, year 10. But what if he gets a routine ankle injury in year 2 and you still owe him $280 million and he can't play? And all the Mets asked him to do was get an in-depth physical every year. That's all. That's why they got mad and turned us down, because we asked you to get a physical every year. You get one anyway, Carlos Correa. To me, it's a thing about sour grapes, bro. It's a thing about sour grapes. And so, but here's the thing. Okay, so JJ says, but you don't sign Verlander to a 2-year deal and Max Scherzer to all that money to worry about 5 years from now, right? Here's the thing, and that's where I agree with you. That's why I agree with you, right? So let me set aside the Carlos Correa thing just really quickly, right? Because I want to talk more about Correa, but I want to bring in some context. I want to bring in some context, right? Carlos Correa, I said set him aside, and the first thing I say is Carlos Correa's name. But Carlos Correa, in my mind, at third base is 300, 380 on base, something like that. Because they were gonna walk the daylights out of him with the Mets, depending on what place in the batting order, he was gonna where he was gonna bat, right? So 300, 30 home runs, 380, Gold Glove defense, and a very, 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 very marketable infield with Lindor, Pete Alonso, and Carlos Correa. Pictures everywhere. Big three. Big three. Right. And JJ says, but you don't sign Verlander. Yep, I got you. Okay, I read that one already. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I want Mets fans to do is this. Don't think about this fluffy thing like, oh, it's okay. We weren't worried about Correa because we really like Machado, and Machado gives you the same thing at third. Nah, that's PR. That's PR. What I really think the Mets wanted to do, what I really think the Mets wanted to do is give Brett Baty a shot at third base. Because when we see Brett Baty, we think Brett Baty is going to be 275, 280, 20 home runs, average to below average defense at third. But we don't know quite yet because he hadn't played over there yet, right? Average to below average defense, like decent at third base. But what would keep Brett Baty in the lineup is a bat. Is the bat. The bat is going to keep him in the lineup. 275 for his career, 20 home runs, played 15 years. So you're looking at a David Wright light, even though David Wright was pretty decent at third, and David Wright had years where he batted 300, and David Wright had power surges, right? If David Wright had stayed healthy without the injury, I think David Wright is in the conversation for Hall of Fame, right? If if the Wilpons didn't Wilpon it up, David Wright stayed healthy, he would be in consideration for Hall of Fame. Probably by a 280 hitter, about 25 home runs, about 25 stolen bases, above average, average to above average defense. Some years he was really good, other years, you know. And then it also depends on who you have in a lineup with David Wright, right? So what I'm saying to you is I think the Mets wanted to see what they could get out of Brett Baty. Now, I'm not just talking up Brett Baty because it's the day after, whatever. And I'm not pushing Brett Baty. I'm not telling you Brett Baty is a Hall of Famer. I'm not even saying Brett Baty is an all-star. What I'm saying is Billy Epler is known to be a prospect guy. He's not known to be a free agent guy. So JJ says this channel deserves more viewers. This is dope. Yeah. Hey man, hey, JJ, we're gonna build it like a little bit at a time. It's just like Lawrence Tears. Lawrence Tears started out the same way. Right? Lawrence Tears started off the same way. So I'm comfortable with it, man. What I would say to the Carlos Correa thing is, sure, the Mets wanted to get him, right? They wanted Carlos Correa, probably still do. But injuries in baseball happen, right? And if Carlos Correa comes into a season with a pre-existing injury, right? A pre-existing diagnosis, what happens when Strider from the Braves uncorks one straight to Correa's ankle? What happens on those hard slides in a second? Right? What happens when that ball is hit in the corner and Correa wants to stretch one out for 3? Right? We're holding our breath the entire time. I'm sure nothing will happen, right? I'm certain nothing will happen. But as a Mets fan, you know, if bad things can happen, bad things will happen. We got our stroke of luck twice in franchise history, right? Y'all know exactly what they are. Y'all know our 2 strokes of luck, right? 1980, the New York Mets get the number 1 pick in the draft, and the New York Mets select Darryl Strawberry. Lucky we get the pick. Lucky the pick panned out. How often does a New York team get the number 1 pick and it pans out, or gets a high pick and it pans out? Right? And the second one is the idiot coach from Boston left Bill Buckner in the game and didn't bring in a defensive replacement. And Bill Buckner, with a bad back, 2 bad knees, and 2 bad ankles, is left to play defense in a game where McNamara should have made a defensive replacement. Anybody over there, anybody, even Don Baylor's old rump over there would have fielded a simple ground ball. We got lucky, right? But listen, do you sign Carlos Correa to $300+ million, hoping that we can get lucky time after time after time after time after time? Right? What happens? What happens on those doubles in the gap? And Carlos Correa is sliding feet first into the bag. Are you wincing like, no, Carlos, no? Now I'm sure nothing will happen, but I don't want to have that feeling for the next 8 seasons. You feel me? So I like Carlos Correa, right? I wanted the Mets to sign him to a hardcore. And yo, you know what? I would have gave him that 6 years, 200 million. 6 years, 200 million. Yes, I'd have gave it to him. Right? JJ says, calling it now. Mets going to give up the farm for Ohtani at the trade deadline. You know what? I would say this, man. I'm gonna say this to that, right? I think the Mets are in a place where we can let the kids play a little bit and then prepare to make a move. Man, listen. March, April, May, June. I'm okay with sprinkling in the kids. I'm okay with Alvarez DHing and catching, right? I'm okay with Alvarez catching our fourth and fifth starter, right? I'm okay with him catching our fourth and fifth starter, and I'm okay with him DHing a lot, right? I'm okay with him DHing a lot, right? What I'm not okay with is Darren Ruff even getting a uniform. What I'm not okay with is Daniel Vogelback, us depending on him. I'm not okay with that. Just not. I think we got to make a move, right? I think we have to make a move. And I think most Mets podcasters are going to say the same thing that I'm saying. Most of them are going to say the same thing I'm saying. Like they're going to say, no, I'm not okay with Vogelback. I'm not okay with Ruff. I'm okay with Canna, but Canna is a ham sandwich. Mark Canna is a ham sandwich. I don't feel comfortable with Mark Canna protecting Pete Alonso. I'm sorry. I know some feelings will be hurt there. I'm just not okay with it. And I'm also not okay with this lineup of Nemo, McNeil, Marte, Lindor, Pete, and whatever order you put them in. As long as Lindor is batting third and Pete is batting fourth, I'm not okay with the protection for Pete in the 5 spot. Just not. And so JJ says DH spot was a killer for us last season. Yes, that was the case. And Canna is a total ham sandwich. Can't stand watching the noodle arm and left. He can't throw out a grandma. No, he cannot. Nope. Nope. And for that reason, I think the Mets are going to because right now there is no power bat available. That there are no power bat options. So when there are no power bats on the market, you have to look in-house. Do the Mets have players that can develop into power bats? Yes. Is it too early to give up on Mark Vientos? No. Is it too early to give up on Alvarez? No. Is it too early to give up on Mauricio? No. Is it too early to give up on Baty? No. Would you rather see Darren Ruff or Mauricio, Baty, Alvarez, or Vientos? Of course, you don't want to see Darren Ruff. Of course not. Of course not. And with that said, are the Mets going to be able to pitch their way to a World Series? No. In today's Major League Baseball, you have to rake. You have to rake, man. The Mets ended their series. The Mets ended their season by getting one hit. I think I saw Mets Weekly. Those guys, man, I like watching them, man. I was watching them early this morning. Shout out to Mets Weekly for doing productive work, man. I was watching Mets Weekly earlier, and Mets Weekly pointed out this one thing. I thought I was on an island. I thought I was by myself. But the Mets went into the playoffs with weak bats. Why not go get a guy? And if you can't go get a guy, if you have one in-house, why not play him? Yep, JJ, I see you. JJ said all the teams that were in it at the end were teams that have power hitters. We're still lacking in that area. Huge issue. I think we have power. We just have unproven power. I put Francisco Alvarez power up against Carlos Correa any day. But they play different positions. I put Mark Vientos' power up against most major leaguers. But pitch selection is killing this young dude. Pitch selection. Right? Even Brett Baty has a little pop in his bat. Rony Mauricio has a little pop in his bat. I don't know if Rony Mauricio is 15 home runs or 30 home runs. Because sometimes he looks impressive and sometimes right? So who can the Mets go after right now? Who's available right now for the Mets to go out and trade for or sign? And man, look. Do I take a shot at Adam Duvall or do I give Ronnie Mauricio a shot? I understand that Adam Duvall has done it before, did it with the Braves, all of that stuff. Adam Duvall can at one time had a lot of power. I understand that. And JJ says, I think Alvarez can hit 30 home runs and Baty 25, but it's still unproven. As you said, risky with a win now team. Yes. But you know what else was risky, though? Us going out and getting Darren Ruff instead of Trey Mancini. I'm talking about at the deadline. We went out and got Darren Ruff, and it totally backfired. It totally backfired. Yo, Hoodie Kev is in the building. Hoodie Kev says, I check in and I hear Adam Duvall. Is this what we doing? No, Hoodie Kev. We don't want Adam Duvall. What I said is this. You need a power bat. You need a power bat, right? But do you go out and take a risk on a injury-prone Adam Duvall at advanced age to be a power bat, or do you give Ronnie Mauricio a shot? And Taylor said, and we gave up like 5 prospects for Ruff. Yes. I want to Google it. I want to see who the Mets gave up for Darren Ruff just really quick. All right. So, all right. Mets trade for Darren. Oh my God. The Mets traded. No, Thomas. Oh God. So we gave up J.D. Davis, Thomas Sapuki, Nick Zwack, I don't know who that is, and Carson Seymour. I don't know who that is. This gave up left-hander Thomas Sapuki, and pitching prospects Nick Zwack, and yeah. And at the time, Darren Ruff had turned 36. And Hoodie Cap says, please, Billy Epler, now's the time to bring in Brian Reynolds. No, yo. No, we don't need a Brian Reynolds. Pittsburgh is crazy. Their asking price for Brian with the I Reynolds is bananas. I would dare say, if you're just going to get a 268 hitter with 20 home runs to play in the outfield, so JJ says Seymour has a lot of potential. Brutal trade for Epler. Yeah. The way it looks now. Yeah, I don't know. When's the last time the Mets won a trade? When is the last time the Mets won a trade? Zach Wheeler, Carlos. Let me see. Hold on. Zach Wheeler, Carlos Beltran, maybe. Oh, Brian with the Y Reynolds. Okay. It's Brian with the Y Reynolds. I don't know why I was thinking Brian with an I. My bad, Hoodie Cap. So Brian Reynolds has been in the major leagues for 4 seasons. And his career batting average is 281. And he has 74 career home runs. He hit 27 last year. He led the league in 21 in triples. Brian Reynolds is a one-time All-Star. JJ says, I guess you could say we won the DS. Yeah. Well, we're still paying Robinson Cano. We're still paying Robinson Cano. Right? But here's the thing. When's the last time the Mets have won a trade? Cespedes? Not really. Because we traded Michael Fulmer, and I think he was like rookie of the year. And the Hoodie Cap says, I would like to have an outfield of Marte, Nemo, and Reynolds. So my thing is if okay, so there's a bidding war going on for Brian Reynolds, and the Mets are not going to win it, right? The Mets are not going to win it because Billy Epler is not going to give up whatever for Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds is not Juan Soto. Brian Reynolds is not Francisco Alvarez. Brian Reynolds is not Mike Trout. Okay? Brian Reynolds is not, what's the guy from the Rangers that was the number one prospect in baseball? Joey Gallo. Or maybe he is Joey Gallo. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Right? If I'm Billy Epler, I know I need a left-handed power bat. Hoodie Cat says I would trade Baty, Mauricio, Blade Tidwell. Hoodie Cat, relax. Hoodie Cat, relax. Relax. Matter of fact, let me throw the link in the chat just in case. I'm gonna throw the link in the chat just in case Hoodie Cav want to say that out loud so he can laugh to himself. Right? Are you serious? JJ, yes, he is bugging. That's way too much. Way too much. Hoodie Cav says Baty, Mauricio, and Blade Tidwell. And Matt Allen. Are you crazy? Matt Allen, Blade Tidwell, Ronnie Mauricio, and Brett Baty for a dude that batted 268. And on top of that, okay, all right. Well, Hoodie Cav, he is a switch hitter, though. He is a switch hitter. But that is way too much. If I'm the Mets, I would do one top 100 prospect and two major leaguers. I would do Ruff, Escobar, and maybe a position player, a minor league position player. Right? Vientos, DH. Wow. Wow. JJ, that's surprising to me. JJ, JJ, have you seen how big Ronnie Mauricio is? Ronnie Mauricio is like 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds.
So he's basically Daniel Vogelbach.
No, basically, yeah. About 6'2", about 220, something like
that. Listen, Uncle Freezer, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of why is my buttons is all discombobulated on this shirt?
I thought you was going to sing "Call Tyrone." I'm getting tired of your wish. You don't never get me nothing.
Billy Epler hasn't gotten me anything.
I know. That's how I thought you were going. That's how I thought you were going with it.
And I am sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay, so I could see going to get Brian Reynolds, right? But what I need to know is how long is he under team control?
3 more years.
Right? This where does he bat in Pittsburgh's lineup?
I think second or third.
Okay.
He's at the top of the lineup.
All right. I need a guy that's going to rake against lefties.
I never thought I'd see the day where old Ray Gibson give up hope.
Old Ray Gibson.
I said I never thought I'd see the day.
I never thought I'd see the day when old Ray Gibson give up hope.
That's what's going on here now.
Keep on, Ray. Keep on, Ray.
Because Uncle Freezy wants to see Matt Canna in left field.
I would like to see Mark Canna at Kennedy Airport waiting on his flight to Colorado.
Are we going to go play the Rockies?
No, he is coming back. He's going in exchange for Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant.
Do you like Chris Bryant? Do you like Chris Bryant?
I'm going to freeze it. What we're not going to do here.
Do you like Chris? It's a simple. It's yes or no.
You see, this is this. You don't. You see,
It's yes or no. Do you like Chris
YouTubers,
Bryant?
Uncle Freezy is playing Jedi mind games, and I am not falling for. I have learned the tricks of the trade when it comes to Uncle Freezy, and I'm not falling for it because Uncle Freezy knows how I value Chris Bryant.
JJ said no to Chris Bryant.
And for that, I'm going to take some more vanilla Oreo thins and put them in my cup of milk.
I don't understand what that means. Hey, Gia, the link is up here already. The link is up there already. Where's the link at? There it is. Yeah, the link.
Yeah, to scroll because this. I've been a Mets fan for going on. This will be my 26th season, like in the Mets. 26 seasons. I've been to the World Series twice. Been to NL championship games. Been to the playoffs several times.
Okay.
And I thought that getting Steve Cohen in here was going to change my fortunes.
Okay.
And Billy Epler has done absolutely nothing to show me that he can be a successful. And I don't want to say that because we went from like what 77 wins to 101.
Yes. What are you talking about? Yes. Yeah. Don't understate that because jumping 24 games is not a small thing.
No, it's not.
Especially without your ace.
But, and I give Billy Epler credit for that. But when it comes to no one would have said, was Max Scherzer a big fish? Yes, but when you overpay by
$10 million, easy.
Probably more than $10 million, but
yeah,
a year probably. I mean, yes, but no one would have said that Sterling Marte was a big fish. No one would have said Eduardo Escobar was a big fish.
Yeah.
Matt Canna.
Right.
Adam Ottavino.
Right.
No one would have said they were big fishes. You technically kind of overpaid for Sterling Marte.
Yes.
You gave a 2-year deal to Eduardo, a 3-year deal to Mark Canna. No, 2 an option. So it's like, Billy Epler, what are you doing? And it's not like, and also, Billy Epler he inherited Francisco Alvarez, Rony Mauricio, Brett Baty,
right,
Matt Allen, Blade Tidwell. Did he draft Alex Ramirez or
not Blade Tidwell? I think they got Blade Tidwell when last year.
Yeah. Okay, so because I know they got the dude. What's his name?
Matt Allen. They got
the rocker dude. I don't know what happened with that last year.
Who?
The rocker kid.
Which one?
The rocker kid. What's his first name?
Yeah, we drafted Kumar Rocker, but we didn't sign him.
Something happened. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. You know what happened? We drafted him. We looked at his medicals, and we didn't sign him. So we got that was 2 years ago. We got a compensatory pick this year. Gee, I know this motherfucker ain't eating Oreos with a spoon.
Bro. First, he was dipping the. I came in. First of all,
if this
first
dude
of
is
all, let's
eating Oreo,
first of all, let's set the stage right. First
hey
of all,
man, how you doing?
we're not going. Yeah, we're not going to make this like this was a random relationship. All right. This is the first time I have been on the panel with Hoodie Cat, bro. But I'm
Bim,
gonna say, yeah, bro, bam. First of
Bim.
all, he told me that I was on the morning portion of the franchise.
Last time y'all was together, yeah.
And that I should not be coming, and that if I came over to the evening channel, that I should follow the evening protocol and leave that morning stuff in the morning. So we never cleared that air before he just disappeared and went and handled his handle as a grown man. You know what I mean? So we never got to the bottom of that. But I'm just going. It's been so long that you know how you even your biggest pain in the ass when it's gone long enough, you're like, man, I miss her. Where is
I was gonna say I'm gonna take that as GI's way of saying Hoodie Kev, I missed you.
Yeah, I miss you, Hoodie Kev. I looked up the other day. I remember I randomly came in and I'm like, wait, that's Hoodie Kev's voice. And then sure enough, 5 minutes later, you was yelling at everybody. That's all. Hoodie Kev's back, baby. He's back, baby.
He's back.
I'm working on coming back more full time. I don't know if Uncle Freezy's ratings can handle me.
Oh, here we go. That's a Hoodie Kev statement,
man. Running everybody off.
Hey, Hoodie Kev. Hey, why you were gone?
Yeah, he.
I got an offer for a major apparel company that want to sponsor.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Hoodie Kev, how do you take
major?
How do you take it that he grew the network? Oh, this ain't about the Mets today. Oh no. This is a reunion party, bro. No. This is a reunion party. This is network business. How do you feel that the network has grown in your absence? Because you immediately started talking about the ratings of which you have not been a part of.
Oh. I'm like Howard Cosell.
Oh wow!
You see, Howard Cosell started Monday Night Football, right? One of the original anchors
of
Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Howard Cosell has not been a part of Monday Night Football in 40 years, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, I see where he's going with this analogy.
And but yet, Monday Night Football is humongous. Right, humongous thing. It's on ESPN now.
Right.
But we all recognize the GOAT that Howard Cosell.
I know where this is going.
Is even though the little montages they do, they still show Cosell and I can't even think of the other two right
Frank
now.
Gifford.
Oh my goodness.
Frank Gifford.
Don Meredith.
And the little yellow jackets,
yellow blazers, yeah.
With ABC, the big old ABC microphones.
Okay.
They didn't have the little microphones.
Are you
they had the big old microphones they had to hold
you
for
had one
3
of the
hours.
original Freezy microphones?
Yeah, Mom. What?
He got new microphones now, baby. Look, remember he had duct tape around it before?
Yeah, I had the black duct tape around the thing and all that.
You ain't got that no more, man. You ain't been here for the new.
Right.
But I just want to say that Uncle Freezer was telling about these kids that do the show on Blonde Tears. And
we can do this right now, Hoodie Kev.
He was telling me that they weren't necessarily how do I put it? Just throwing dirt on me, but they was like, who is Hoodie Kev?
Yeah, man, because you came in and kicked in over the good furniture. They're like, who that guy here? He come in here, introduce himself. He just poured himself a cup of tea. Who is he?
He just kicked his feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't following none of the new protocol. The protocols have grown over time. Things have changed. You ain't read it. You ain't asked for the new employee handbook.
Yeah.
Remember in the first Ant-Man, Uncle Freezy, when
There we
Hank
go.
Pym went back into Pym Laboratories, and the security guy stopped him. He was like, "Can I see some identification?" And he was like, "How about that, son? To my picture on the wall."
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Let's stop this, okay?
Yeah, but that was just an arrogant power play, because Pim hired them people to do exactly what that security guard did. And the security. See, the thing is, he was going to check the security guard anyway. If he wouldn't have asked him, he was like, "Hey, why do you ain't do what I told you to do?" You know, all kind of stuff. But Hoodie Kev, here's a question for you, right?
Oh my god.
Why are we so bitter that we no longer have Carlos Correa, which we probably never had him, right? Why are we so bitter that we don't have him when New York fans know that for certain teams there is a luck element involved with us winning, right? And the Carlos Correa thing, every time Carlos Correa would have slid into second base, you'd have been holding your breath like,
No, because had the ankle issue never even came up in reports, it would have never been in our mind.
right?
Like, I didn't think about Carlos Correa having ankle surgery in 2014 affecting him.
Right.
Why would I think that? When the report came out, they was like, "Oh wow, they must have an ankle issue. What's going on with this?"
Y'all don't think that was a small market move to get back the player that they couldn't afford to begin with? There's only one person that had intimate knowledge of it.
Well, it depends, because he had already signed with the Giants, right? So when the news came out, it didn't come from the Twins. The Giants doctors looked at that,
right?
Yeah, but you just said, I thought your suggestion was that the doctors didn't know what to look for without a heads up. The surgery's in 2015.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if it was the Giants doctors who came to that conclusion on their own.
I would say this. You know, when you spend, okay, so Hoodie Kev, I know if you've done this, 7 to 8 times. When you spend $300 million on something, you want to check it out to make sure it's sturdy, right? And so you don't just send him to the PE teacher to tell him, "Hey, hold your nuts and cough." No, it ain't that type of physical, bro. You got to get, like, when you buy insurance, like say for instance, when you go get like the I think it's $100,000. I think it's something petty, like $100,000. Like, you can get $90,000 worth of insurance, right? And they'll be like, "Yeah, just spitting this thing." But you get $100,000, they're like, "No, you got to go to a doctor and get a real physical." Like, because when I went, I was like, "Yo, it's just life insurance," and they was like, "Yes, it's just life insurance."
Let me ask you a question. In 6 years, if the Mets haven't won a World Series, and Carlos Correa is coming.
Hoodie Kev, you missed my point. You missed my point. Stay with me. Let me finish my point, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I understand everything.
No, okay. So what was I about to say then?
That when you spend that kind of money, when you make that kind of commitment, you want to make sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted.
No. What I'm saying
really
is
good condition before you drive off lot and realize it's a lemon.
Nope. I'm saying in game 2, this dude hits a ball in the gap and he's hustling for second base, and he slides into second base, and he damages that ankle in game 2 of the contract. Guess what you got to do? Guess what you got to do for 11 more years? The
last $300 million of it, even though you ain't gonna have him on the team. It'll be Bobby Bonilla 10 times over.
10 times, and the press is gonna murder you, right? That's what I'm saying, Kev. I'm not saying that Carlos Correa is gonna have his ankle's gonna fall off. What I'm saying is baseball injuries happen, and all it takes is for Zach Wheeler to bean Carlos Correa in the ankle in game 12.
Man, why Zach Wheeler though?
I couldn't think of another Philly pitcher. I couldn't think of another Philly pitcher. He's the first one coming to my mind.
Aaron Nola.
Yeah, him. Aaron Nola don't throw hard enough, right? So Zach Wheeler beans Carlos Correa in the ankle, and he's falling. He's
You could
on
have
the
said
ground.
Gregory Soto.
Yeah, 103 miles an hour. Yeah, beans Carlos Correa in that ankle, and he's on the ground holding that ankle. What's the first thing you're gonna say?
We got to get someone of the Phillies back. Watch out,
Right.
Bryce Harper. We're coming
Right.
for the elbow.
You're right. You know what I'm thinking? I'm
You
thinking
mean
like,
not the Phillies? You mean the Washington North?
yeah, basically that's what it is. Basically. So basically what I'm getting at, Hoodie Kev, is this. It's not the fact that I don't like Carlos Correa or I have a penchant for spending Steve Cohen's money. It's that ball's rattling around in the corner and Kyle Schwarber can't find it. And Carlos Correa makes the turn, going to third, and he slides in the third foot first, pop-up slide, and then he fall down to the ground and grab his ankle.
So let me ask you this question, Uncle Freddie.
That's where I am with it.
Before you ask your question, Kev, let me say this, because it's in line with him. You have to, Cohen, I got a little scared when they said San Fran has issues with the health, but the Mets said, come on over. I got nervous. I thought Cohen was going to sign him with no questions asked.
No questions
Cohen has to be responsible. I'm going to bounce it to you right now, Kev. Here it comes. Cohen's got to be responsible with his money. He's willing to outspend everybody, but he can't spend like a drunken sailor, because they want to discredit him. So he has to make sure his spending is credible.
Gia, and you know what, Gia? Think about what you just said. What you said was brilliant, right? You said Cohen will spend the money, right? But Carlos Correa was a bridge too far. So what does that tell you about Carlos Correa's ankle?
Was it a bridge too far for Steve Cohen, or was it a bridge too far for Billy Epler?
Who owns the Mets?
Steve Cohen does.
Right. Who cuts the checks?
Steve
Cohen does.
Yes.
Steve Cohen does, right? The thing is, he would have told Epler to sign this. Listen, man.
Because hold on, the deal was made in the middle of the night. Scott Boras,
pending a physical,
called Scott Boras when he was in Hawaii at 3 a.m.
Yep.
The deal was hashed in. Billy Epler was nowhere in sight.
Okay.
Billy Epler was probably in New York.
Right.
3,000 miles away.
In his apartment.
Because God forbid they got cell phone numbers for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, God forbid they have carrier pigeons, right?
And I'm pretty sure after he made the deal.
Yeah, what's the thing where you make the beeps in the lines?
Yeah,
Morse code. God forbid they have Morse code.
After the deal was made, he called Billy Epler saying,
now they calling each other. Okay.
So after he made the deal, Billy Epler was like, Billy Epler, hello, who is this? And she goes like, hey, Billy, wake up. It's Uncle Steve.
Wait a minute.
That's what I just did.
So Gia, again.
Like, what are you talking about?
Gia, again, God forbid that Billy Epler has caller ID.
or God forbid that has enough respect to call the agent. I mean, to call to protocol before he calls right to the top, like he's been around.
If it was protocol, then Scott Boras would have called Billy Epler.
That's what I'm saying. I believe that's what he did.
Scott Boras called Steve Cohen.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
In Hawaii.
That's what it said. That was reported.
Yes, that's what happened.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Billy Epler, I mean, he probably called Billy Epler like, hey, Billy, guess what I just did? And Billy Epler, it's 3 a.m. What do you do? I just signed Carlos Correa to 12 years, $315 million.
Pending a physical.
And Billy Epler probably sat up out his bed like, what?
Yeah. But Hoodie Cap hit.
I'm under the impression that what happened was, and I'm bouncing to you, Freeze. I just can't leave that out there. That he called him to say, hey, my guy could be yours. Let me know when my people could speak to your people. I doubt if Cohen.
No, that's what happened. That's what happened.
You don't
believe personally called
right? I know, but
Cohen
you don't believe that Cohen did say, all right, well, let me get Epler and everybody on the phone so we can see what we can do. You don't believe that happened? You just think
that happened. Yes, that happened. That absolutely happened.
It probably happened afterwards.
No, no, no. Yes, no. That absolutely happened the way Gi said it. Yeah, because CEOs and chairmen don't run companies like that, bro. They don't make business decisions like that. It's just don't happen. I've never seen anything in business operate that way ever. Ever.
And more
Even
importantly, as the head that wears the king, yo, bro, I'm paying you $20 million. I need you to wake up right now. I got somebody on the phone you need to talk to.
right. Yeah. So Hoodie Cat, I understand what you're saying. Now, what you're saying is Steve Cohen calls the shots, right? I agree, right? But ultimately, you don't hire a team of smart individuals not to allow them to be smart individuals.
So, are you trying to say that everyone who's been a general manager is a smart individual?
Yes.
On what level exactly? Because I can name some
On
boneheaded people
every level. On
that's
every
done
level.
some
You
boneheaded
might be able to
things.
you might be able to point out some things that didn't go that GM's way, but you don't make it to the top levels of executive management by being an idiot. And you just don't.
I
Right?
got 3 words for you.
I've seen very few Jeff Saturdays in my life. I've never
Brody
seen too many people unqualified
Van
for the job the way Saturday.
Wagenen
Okay.
was an agent.
Right.
Was a player agent.
Right.
No experience as a club executive.
Okay.
0 experience as a club executive.
Right.
Before he became general manager of the New York Knicks. Am I missing something on his resume?
Right. Does that mean that man is not smart?
Yeah, because that was the point. He's probably brilliant.
He's probably brilliant. He's
Maybe,
just inexperienced in a certain area.
Probably has a top-notch law degree.
If I'm a brilliant pianist, I can't be a heart surgeon.
What?
Still makes you brilliant, though. Still don't make you dumb.
Just because you change your jobs means you're any less of a brilliant pianist? No.
Doesn't mean that I'm an excellent heart surgeon.
No, it does not.
It just say if I'm doing a concert and like, oh my God, he's having a heart attack, and I get up like, don't worry, I'm a pianist. I got this.
No.
That shouldn't happen.
No, yeah, that's not exactly a good comparison. If you'd have said,
I think that's a
if you'd have said, like the dude that took over Yum, right? The dude that took over Yum, and the people that own Pizza Hut and Taco Bell and all that stuff. He came from McDonald's, right? He came like he legit had a relationship with McDonald's and them down in Florida, right? Just running fast food restaurant burgers and fries, right? But what he did is he took over Yum, which does Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Wendy's, and so instead of going from burgers to fries, he went to tacos and pizza and all that stuff. That's the kind of example that if you was going to make one, I thought that's what you was going to say. But to say Brody Van Wagenen is not a smart human being just because he did the Edwin Diaz trade, come on, bro.
No, don't say the Edwin Diaz trade. Say the Robinson Cano trade.
That was the Edwin Diaz trade?
That's the Robinson Cano trade. Because when you say the Robinson Cano trade, it makes it seem even worse.
Right.
Yeah, because you don't mind having Diaz. You just didn't want Cano as part of it. But that's how sports work. You got to give to get.
Right.
No,
I bet you. Do you
like Edwin Diaz?
We know why he got Robinson Cano. Let's not fake the funk here.
We're not faking the funk. That was his agent. But what we're saying though is, I bet you Steve Cohen was happy to buy this team with Edwin Diaz on the back end, and I bet you didn't think about Brody Van Wagenen and the Bone Cano deal when he purchased the team.
Right. Nah. And we still paying Robinson Cano right now, $18.5 million.
The point I'm making is this. Now, I want to get to the question I never asked, Ghetto Intellect and Uncle Freezy. Let's say in 6 years, the Mets don't win a World Series, right? And 6 years from now, Carlos Correa's been an all-star 3 times and been completely healthy. Not one time having any ankle issue.
Impossible.
No, that's not impossible because he hasn't had an ankle issue.
No. You said completely healthy. We're talking about Major League Baseball players. They're going to have some type of injury.
Okay, he said ankle.
You know what I mean? Like a major ankle.
You said relatively healthy.
Yes, relatively with no issues with his surgically repaired ankle.
I think that's what's important.
How would you feel?
I would say it goes to prove that scared money don't make money. But guess what scared money does do? Give you opportunity to find the next Carlos Carrera. You ain't wasted.
Right.
I'm just saying, if nothing happens, and this is a completely overblown situation, then I just kind of feel like this is a big reason of why we haven't won a World Series in another 6 more years.
Oh, no. Wait.
Nah, come on, man.
The man just been the owner for 2 years. You ain't won a World Series because the coupons have been in charge for the past 20 years. That's why you ain't got no World Series. That ain't got Cohen. They'll be next year's Carlos Carrera.
Yeah.
One thing about baseball.
Why did we? Oh yeah.
Hey, Hoodie Cap. Hey, Hoodie Cap. Just real quick. Can I hit you with a fact? So each owner of the Mets won a World Series within the first 6 years of their ownership. What will make Steve Cohen any different? You said 6 years, right? The Double Days owned the Mets, and they won the World Series in '69. The Wilpons took over in '84, and the Mets won the World Series in '86. Right? Cohen took over in 2001. Why won't you give him 7 to 8? 2021, yeah, 2021. Why won't you give him the fair 7 to 8 years to build it instead of jumping down that man's throat?
What did Steve Cohen tell us when he took over?
Hey,
no.
We gonna win the World Series every year.
And what did the league tell Steve Cohen?
He said we're going to win a championship within the first 5 years.
And what did the league?
That's what Steve Cohen promised me, promised you, and promised every other Mets fan. He said we're going to win a World Series within the next 5 years.
And what did the other owners, his colleagues, do to him year one?
What did they do?
They put a cap on his spender.
And you see how he cares about that cap, right?
This is year 2. They put a cap on a year 2, too. He ain't spending what he can this year. They put a cap on his as soon as he made that statement, they went out and put a cap on his first 5 years of spending.
He can spend. There's a tax, but he can spend whatever he wants to spend.
No. They told him he got to come easy. That's the Illuminati piece of it. They told him we're not going to say yes if you're going to come in and spend like a drunken sailor.
Right. The owner from the White Sox said that. The owner from the Chicago White Sox is one of the owners that came in and said, "Hey man, you can't be throwing money around like this."
Yeah.
So other broke owners who don't want to spend money said, "Hey, don't make us all look bad.
Right.
Don't make us all look bad. And you put together the best team you can with your money, however you want to spend it." I don't remember anyone ever saying that to George Steinbrenner.
They were scared of Steinbrenner. They trying to punk Cohen.
I don't remember in the 40 years George Steinbrenner owned the Yankees. I don't remember anyone ever saying, "George, you might want to calm down. Don't spend this much money. Don't make us look bad. Please, Mr. Steinbrenner."
Well, first things first, I didn't realize the impact George Steinbrenner had on the game until I followed the Mets closely, but I didn't follow other teams until next year. I'm going to follow teams more because when I got to get to the playoffs and said, all right, let's see how we line up the Braves. I know we could beat them. And when I was like, whoa, the Padres. Yep. Wait, how the hell? That small market team, that team, they got –
So the Padres are trying to send the Padres just signed Fernando Tatis to a huge deal.
Right.
After signing Manny Machado to a huge deal.
3 years ago.
They signed
Juan Soto in arbitration.
No, they signed Bogarts to a huge deal.
Yep.
They may have to. They probably want to re-sign Juan Soto to a huge deal. And reports just came out that they are going to be one of the front runners in the Shohei Ohtani, who might break the bank in free agency.
Right.
And you're telling me that Steve Cohen.
They saying that Shohei Ohtani not getting that money. How old Shohei Ohtani is? What, 30?
Like 28, 29. I don't think he's 30 yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'll get $400 million. I ain't gonna get fired.
Yeah, he ain't getting half
But
$1
the
billion.
point is, and yeah, I didn't even thought about their pitching.
But he's coming to New York because all his friends they can trace strong ties that he's definitely coming to New York.
Carlos Correa's best friend is in New York, so don't give me that.
Carlos Correa wanted to be in New York.
And he's in Minnesota.
You can't do nothing about Carlos Correa's. You can't do nothing about his physical.
No, they still offered him a contract, and he turned it down.
He turned it down because of the stipulations.
Yeah,
like I don't want to get my ankle checked every year. I wonder why you don't want to. Yeah,
is in New York.
Well, hey, but Hoodie Kev, listen. So you would agree that Steve Cohen would spend money, right? Like Steve Cohen will spend money.
I think he's willing to. Yes.
What would that tell you if Steve Cohen was willing to walk away from Carlos Correa?
I don't know if Steve Cohen was the one who put all those stipulations in the contract. I don't know.
He accepted them.
I don't know.
I think
he
did.
I think I don't think.
I think they said, Steve Cohen, you made $1 billion.
This is what I think.
80 billion on the stock market by putting in mitigating factors to your purchases. Yeah. I am doing nothing different here than how you made your billions. And I think Steve Cohen looked in the mirror and said, Carlos Correa, this is what it's got to be in order for me to run a successful.
See, I don't see that, because this is what I think. I think at the end of the day, a lot of owners are owners, they're businessmen, right?
Yes.
But
you know what?
They have to like. Hold on.
The other guys inherited theirs. Many of the other guys inherited theirs.
They don't waste resources.
Let me ask you a question. How many people, case in point, like I'm a billionaire and I want to own a team.
Damn, why you ain't told us that 2 years ago?
That's why you disappeared from us, because
he's busy buying the Padres.
And the Washington Nationals come open for sale, right? I'm not a Nationals fan, but I want to own the Nationals. Yeah, I'll eventually like them, but I'm not a childhood fan. Like, they're not my heart.
Kind of like Michael Jordan, Nolan, the Charlotte Bobcats. Go ahead, go.
Yeah.
So Steve Cohen,
Wilmington, North Carolina, got money.
What?
What?
So Steve Cohen is a Mets fan. Who owns the Mets? He's not a Mets fan who owns the Cleveland Indians. He's not a Yankees fan who owns the Texas Rangers. He's a Mets fan who owns the Mets. So he's
like Jerry Jones is a Cowboy fan, so all the Cowboys. Where we going? Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah, we gotta speed this up. G.I., you got the remote so we can speed this up.
He's probably also looking at it from a fan's point. Like, I want to win a World Series from my favorite team.
Hoodie Kev, how long has Steve Cohen been the owner?
2 years.
Not entirely.
Not even. Probably
not entirely accurate. Steve Cohen has been a partial owner of the Mets for over 10 years.
Okay, this is true. Yes,
that's right.
Right,
he was a minority owner.
He was the major minority owner. Remember that? He was the biggest minority owner. Like, of all the minority owners, he had the biggest stake. Right. Yeah.
Wasn't his team though. He's a part owner, wasn't his team.
Wait a minute. So he was owner, but he didn't own it?
He was a minority owner, as in listen. Yeah, he had say, but at the end of the day, that's the Wilpons team.
I'm gonna be honest. The Wilpons probably needed to get bailed out because they got made off.
Yeah.
And they probably told Steve Cohen, yes, we're gonna sell this team. In order to be in the front running to buy this team in the future, we need to give this money, but you don't get a say. I really think that was.
Hey, yeah, you know what they did? You know what they told Cohen? You know what the Wilpons told Cohen, right? You can buy the team, but we'll own it for the next 5 years and make this money. And then after 5 years is up, you can have it.
That's right.
And so if you're like, what did you just say? Those are fighting words.
Yeah,
You
but you have
want
to
me
take
to
it.
pay for it, but you collect the revenue and then y'all will leave.
But it probably gave him a lesser. It probably was their final negotiation. They probably gave a number. He gave a number, and they said, "Okay, we'll accept your number, but we need to get the bottom line for the
Right.
next such and such. Well, why should that bother you? You don't need that bottom line. At least you got less of a purchase price. Because Steve Cohen, he gonna make his money. The Mets is not gonna stop him from making his because that's not. This is the money he's generated sitting in the bank from his net worth that he's making another investment in. They don't stop his day to day. That's how these rich people play. That's why they get so rich because this is their hobbies and their side investments. Their day to day money is growing at that rate.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. There's some owners whose main revenue is
Baseball or
that,
sports.
like the Bus family. Bus
Right.
family was rich, but the
I
Bus
was
family
about to
gets
tell
their
you.
money from the Lakers.
I was about to tell you that's because look at where they came from. So the Rony family as well. The Rony family paid $100, and they didn't even pay 50,000. I don't think they
Talking about for the Steelers.
they paid some stupid price, like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So
They've owned the
yes,
team since the
their wealth
60s.
came, huh?
I said they've owned the team since the 60s.
Right, and they only paid to get into a franchise fee of like $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah. They ain't paying no bread.
So yes, their
they
net
paid like
worth comes
$100,000.
from their value is in owning the Steelers.
I'm
But
pretty
it's
sure
other
back
people
then
like
that was the
Jerry
money.
Jones. Jerry Jones' money is not from the Cowboys. It's now he's turned the Cowboys into a conglomerate, but his money came from oil. He got rich from oil, and then purchased the Cowboys. It's the guy from.
But I'm just saying
Jacksonville.
there's certain people who
like
money
the
That's
McClaskey
the
family.
The only people who would
Like the Bears.
Yeah. The only people who are relying on the sport is the kids who inherited it. Anybody who has purchased the team currently, they're the owner and they purchased it. In order to do that, they made a ton of money somewhere else.
Like the Hunt family and the Chiefs. Or like Lamar Hunt bought the Chiefs years ago, and all they've done since then is made money in the NFL. You like, for instance, when Clark Hunt accepts the AFC Championship trophy on behalf of the Kansas City Chiefs, you can best believe his only job his whole life was Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I'm saying?
Stephen Jones.
Stephen
Jones the same way.
Yep.
Stephen Jones, they did jack diddly poo poo in his life, but come and work
Dallas
for his
Cowboys.
daddy in his business, and now you think Stephen Jones is one of the biggest businessmen in America.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, and it's not about that, it's look at Manny Machado or Shohei Ohtani. To be honest with you, Billy Epler, and I'm not gonna say Steve Cohen, I'm gonna say Billy Epler, has not done anything to prove to me you are capable of bringing in the big fish at a reasonable market price.
No, he has not, except he signed 2 former Cy Young winners.
And what
At reasonable prices?
What's a reasonable price in today's Major League Baseball?
Yeah, what's reasonable?
When Max Scherzer was on the market last year, his going rate was like 35 million.
But Cohen wanted him.
And Billy Epler came in and said, "We'll give you 43 million a year."
No, he didn't. No, it didn't just start. No, he didn't. It just didn't do that, man. It was like 3 weeks. It was like a 3 weeks of negotiating. You know what I'm saying? It was like
3 weeks turned from 35 to 43.
Yes. You saw it. You saw it with your own eyes.
Probably got to 50. But guess what he did, though, Kev? Guess what he did that you didn't give him credit for?
I was like, what?
He did. The dude didn't want to. He's rich enough to not have to come to New York, deal with the crazy fans, deal with the media, deal with the tax. The tax you have in New York that's not relevant. I mean, that's not in other places. So now you got to start negotiating to make it happen. Eckler was able to get the player to the table 2 times over, negotiate, and get the deal done.
When I heard 3 years, $130 million, I was like, wait a minute. something ain't at how much is that? That's $43 million a year for a 38-year-old former Cy Young Award pitcher.
Yeah, but
what in God's green earth?
Yeah, but did you want to give what you call it little bit less for longer? Did you want to give DeGrom a little bit less for a longer
I would have gave Jacob DeGrom anything he wanted.
Oh, see, Kev, you didn't say here and say that. You would give DeGrom.
Yes, and Uncle Freezy would tell you.
Uncle Freezy is break down
Uncle
on you.
Freezy would tell you. I said, give that man a 5-year, $200 million deal.
You always let your bias come out
because there's no other. And I like Justin Verlander. Don't get me wrong. I think Justin Verlander is a fantastic pitcher, going to the Hall of Fame.
Okay,
he ain't Jacob DeGrom.
What do you mean? He's won in a big game. Name one big game Jacob DeGrom has won.
If you say that 2015 NLCS against the Dodgers, then it's been too long.
Hey, that's not all Jacob DeGrom fault. He ain't pitching big games. That's a
chance last year.
That's a Will Pine.
He had a chance last year after resting half the year. He was not dominant.
He got a win. Jacob DeGrom was the only starting pitcher.
He was not dominant.
He get a win?
The last time you seen him,
Jacob DeGrom get a win in the playoffs last year?
See how you do this? How you
because the offense showed up.
Did we
win that game like 8-3?
The last time you seen Jacob DeGrom, he was not 8-3. The last time you seen him, he was not $163 million dominant in the playoffs against a real lineup. He was looking a little tender out there. He was throwing around guys, throwing balls now.
And it was sitting on his fastball.
He was not that Jacob DeGrom you see in the opening day against or in the hot middle of July against anybody lineup. When them lineups got up there ready and done their homework on Jacob DeGrom, he ain't throwing none of that nasty stuff. He looked like a shell of himself. Go back and let's rewatch the game together one day and be like, yeah, where was that pitch all season? They ain't throwing none of that.
Yeah, I think they were sitting on DeGrom. They were sitting on DeGrom, bro. They was sitting on DeGrom fastball. That's why he was throwing a lot of breaking. Remember, he was throwing breaking balls.
He was
like, why is he throwing all these breaking balls?
That slider. All he kept throwing was slider.
I'm like, why is he throwing slider? Why is he throwing slider here?
He would not come, and they just was sitting. They was looking at him like
fastball, bro.
And now all of a sudden, he got more balls than you ever seen. You're like, I ain't seen Jacob DeGrom throw that many balls in the whole game that he just threw that last inning.
Right.
Now he looking shaky. Kev don't remember this. Kev, you should be ashamed of yourself, right?
I'm trying to look for his stat line for that game.
Yeah, man. Hey, Kev, but here's the thing though about Correa and about Machado. I think the Mets played it safe. What they could do is keep Escobar and Baty at third, right? And then allow Baty and Escobar play. Maybe Escobar can bounce back to his Arizona Diamondback years, right? And if he don't, you give Baty a chance. Maybe Baty can prove that he can play at the major league level. Maybe he's ready, right? And then if not, next summer, you go after Manny Machado.
Mm-hmm.
Play the kids.
Oh, dear God. Here we go. See, that's what Uncle Freezy wanted right there. Right there. That's what he
wanted. The only way
the
kids are getting played.
That's what I'm not falling for it.
It's via injury. First of all, it won't be any kids.
So Jacob DeGrom last year went 6 innings, gave up 5 runs, struck out 8, walked 2, and had 2 earned runs.
He did.
I guess $163 million for that.
Say that again.
He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, struck out 8, walked 2, and gave up 2 runs.
They was hitting him hard.
Yeah, he gave up 5 hits.
Yeah, they was. Yeah,
in 6 innings.
Okay. Yeah.
So he gave up 5 hard hits.
5 hits.
Wow.
Six.
That's a lot.
5 hits in 6 innings. That's not what you're paying $163 million for. I can find anybody to go out there and do that.
Did you want him to be what's his name? Bob Sutton? You want him to throw a shutout? Is he Bob Gibson now?
Bob Sutton? Who the
I meant Bob Gibson. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is it Bob Gibson?
Again.
You want to throw in 12 innings?
Again. And it wasn't just that. It was the way he went about it. To watch how dominant he is every other time. And then when we came back and started playing good lineups, look at every good lineup we played. He wasn't that same DeGrom. He didn't show you that he was worth $163 million.
So a guy who struggled, and we know he wasn't on his A game, struggled, didn't have his A stuff, went 6 innings, struck out 8, only gave up 2 runs, and 5 hits, and didn't have his A stuff at all.
Right.
I don't know
what the kind of guy that I want to pay, because if that was his stat line and he didn't have his A stuff,
you also want to pay Correa.
You also sat him down. You also sat him down 6 months of the year. If anybody, he didn't look no better sitting 6 months of the year.
No, when Jacob DeGrom
he didn't look no better than hardly anybody else in the league.
Jacob DeGrom first outing back, he basically had a no-hitter.
I'm talking about in the playoffs. Remember, I finally got to
in the playoffs.
These teams are built for the playoffs.
Hey, Hoodie Kev. Oh, I'm sorry, Gia, but Hoodie Kev. You know, if Jacob DeGrom had won in Atlanta, the Mets would have won the division. It would not have had to play the Padres. You know that, right?
Or if the guy who had already won, that had made $43 million, had won in Atlanta.
Him too.
Either
one.
He already got his money.
Either one. GI, you see what I'm getting at? Why are we paying these cats all this bread and then all we gotta do? I'm sorry.
There was nothing special DeGrom did down the stretch, man. There was no. I don't know what Kev is talking about. He was not a Cy Young pitcher down the stretch of this year. Yet you wanted to give him $163 million.
I would have gave him 5 years, $200 million.
What?
I told Uncle Freeze that's what I would have gave him.
I'd have gave that. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting I can't cuss. I keep forgetting I can't cuss. Man.
Yo, ain't he like 34, 35 years old?
Yeah, he is.
What?
We just gave a 40-year-old $40 million.
Yeah, for 2 years.
So we can't give a 34-year-old
5 years? No, he hasn't proved that. This guy proved in last year that he did this, and you could say, okay, he probably could do it 2 more years. DeGrom sat for 6 months. When we paid him, he hasn't.
First off, DeGrom.
See how you got to go first off that quick, because you know ain't no
injuries weren't structural. Did not require surgery at all.
What? He ain't getting out there.
The 40-year-old pitcher we just had Tommy John surgery at 38.
That's right. Perfect time to have Tommy John.
Yeah. Hey, DeGrom is soft. Can we move on?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's move on. DeGrom is soft. Get him out of here. You don't want to pitch in New York? Bye. I ain't ready to lament. This dude wanting to be here. He chose them. Bye. Get on.
We gave this guy $100 million not to play, to rehab. And you talk about hometown discount.
So here's the thing. I won't Carlos Correa,
but you can't.
He was right here. He was right here, and we said no. Whoa. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's take a timeout. So what happens next year when they say Manny Machado suffers from migraines? Or Shohei Ohtani gets dehydrated too fast.
We're gonna play the kids.
And you know what? We'll never win. We'll never win the World Series.
Hey, and I'm here to tell you had a team with DeGrom on it that they never won.
Yep. We came close. Should have won. Our boneheaded manager.
Man, Lucas Duda threw a ball to the catcher that went in the dugout. But anyway, that was 8 years ago, 7.5, 8 years ago. Right? What I'm saying is this.
Will Ponds ain't deserved to win those series.
And for that reason alone, the Mets will win 10 World Series in the next 40 or so years.
I believe so.
For that reason alone. because baseball is not about Moneyball,
What?
right? Yeah, baseball is not about Moneyball.
You
Baseball,
crazy.
nah, man, nah. Hear me out on it.
Go ahead.
It's not about Moneyball, right? And what it's also not about is big moments. You have to find a guy in baseball that's going to consistently give you a high level of performance every day. You can't show up some days and not show up other days.
That's
And then
something, bro.
and the other thing too is in baseball, man. In baseball, anytime one player tries to do too much, he can ruin the entire game. It's not like football where you get like another chance. They punt and then give you the ball back. Say for instance, Starling Marte in a 2-2 game dives for a ball in the corner and he misses it and the ball go all the way to the wall. Those runners keep running, and the center fielder got to run all the way over there and back him up. Where all Marte had to do was make the routine play and keep play runners in scoring position. You know what I'm saying?
Because you never know if the next guy gonna strike out.
Well,
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Is
Right.
Chicago a big market?
Which Chicago? Which Chicago? You talking about Chicago, Kentucky, or Chicago, Mississippi?
Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago is one of the largest, most powerful cities in the world. Okay.
Right.
And
Is that
they had a team,
that was a rhetorical question?
and they had a team that went 107 years without a championship.
Well, they have two teams in the town too.
Yeah.
Is Boston a big market sports team?
Boston is big market, but small town, but still big market.
Yeah.
And they had a team that went 85 years without a championship.
Okay. All right. I'm waiting on the.
Oh, the other Chicago team went 87 years.
Okay.
Without a championship.
Okay.
So I'm
that's
not
no
going to sit
excuse.
here.
That's
I'm
no
not going to
excuse for
sit
the Mets,
here
though. That's
and
no
say,
excuse for the Mets because the Braves the Braves was the dominant team in the 90s and they won World Series.
And
I'm
you
not
can look at
saying-
the year, and you can look at the money the Mets spent. They also, those teams were just starting to get their media going. Remember, the Mets, because of Steinbrenner and being in their backyard, was able to steal some of his concepts
Right.
and get their media going.
When did the Mets become a organization, a franchise? 1962.
Yeah. So
it's been 61
agreed
years.
upon in 1961, started in 62. They won a World Series in year 7 with the Doubleday family.
We've been a franchise. This will be our 61st
The
season.
Wilpons took over in 84. They won a World Series in 86.
This is our 60th.
Steve Cohen took over in 2021, and you are already ready to ship them out of town because they didn't get Carlos Correa. What are we even talking about?
61 years we've been a team.
No, they didn't take a risk. They got the. Well, really, we didn't get Carlos Correa. We didn't.
What I'm saying is, we've been a franchise organization for 61 years.
Right.
And have 2 titles.
How many times we've been to the World Series?
4 times.
What? The Mets have been to the World Series 4 times?
I think so.
I know we didn't win in
99. So the one against the Yankees didn't count. People forget about the one against the Yankees.
No.
So the one against the Royals don't count then.
Yeah, we've been 4 times. We won 2, lost 2. That's 4.
Yeah,
no,
I think he's
no,
right.
Hoodie Cab, you wrong, bro.
How many other times? We went to the World Series more times than that?
The Mets won it in 69.
Uh-huh.
They went in 1973 and lost to the Oakland A's in 7 games.
It must be 5.
They went to the World Series in 86, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went to the World Series in 2000, lost to the Yankees.
So we've been 5 times.
Yep.
So we're 2 and 3.
I need a Mets. Can a Mets fan please stand up, man?
So for this network, I want to be honest, especially since it's not a lot of fans are here. I am a casual Met fan because I grew up a Wilpon fan, and it didn't take me long before the Madoffs. Heck, I wish I would have met them before Ernie Madoff. I knew I could have hustled them gentlemen. You could just tell, especially growing up in the market where you're watching Steinbrenner make every move, and then you look to see what your team doing, and it's like they're intentionally trying to do the opposite. You knew there was no way that it was going to work out.
Right. Hoodie Cab, you got to brush up on this Met stuff, bro. How do you
So I
not?
forgot about one World Series.
No,
I'm
it's
so
not.
sorry.
It's not about forgot about World Series. It's just the Mets have been in the league for 61 years and have been to the World Series 5 times
And won twice.
and won twice.
I need
So before you say the Mets been in the league 60 years and only have 2 titles, come on, bro.
So if the Mets were to go on a 5-year run, let's say this thing works right now, because Carlos Correa doesn't stop this thing from going, and he doesn't guarantee that it doesn't go.
Right.
It's the pitching and the timely hitting that matters. And I'm gonna be honest, you could have all these guys and they can go in the slump in October at the same time. It's just too much into baseball to say that you can buy a team. You're just buying the best opportunity, and you might be buying a little intimidation from the other team.
Yes.
Here's the thing. In sports, in football, baseball, basketball,
And
hockey,
football, if you have the best quarterback, you're gonna win.
But here's my thing. In
Right? Am I
sport,
lying? Right now, if you got the best quarterback, right? Hoodie Kev, just real quick. I don't
That
want
you
to talk
could
about the
defend,
Jets.
the best quarterback that you could protect.
You're
You
right.
don't have an
And-
offensive line, it won't matter.
Right. Think about this. If
No, that's not true.
absolutely right. If the Jets had Joe Burrow at quarterback right now,
no,
would
they
they
let
be
me
going to the
hit
Super
you.
Bowl?
It'd
Would
be
they
a
be
better
going to the Super Bowl? Yes.
There was a time where you could say that Dan Marino was the best quarterback in football, right? You can probably argue that fact that Dan Marino was the best quarterback in football.
Need someone.
Dan Marino ain't got no Super Bowls.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah,
you can
no,
say
when you
that-
get that far,
you could have
get that
argued
far, it's more than just
Dan
the fact.
Marino was the best quarterback in football, and he ain't got no rings.
Yeah, that's why I don't know what Freezy was doing, because you could have the worst quarterback. In fact, quarterback is the only position, as long as the guy doesn't make mistakes. And there's a guy
nowadays.
Yeah, if I have a quarterback around me that I can, listen, Purdy has a chance to win. Purdy's about to prove you wrong.
Okay.
Purdy has a chance to. The Cowboys don't stop these boys next week. I could tell you the NFC East, there's only NFC East teams and San Francisco 49ers left. I watched every team. I watched us play the Washington Redskins. Then the next week, play the next team. Oh my goodness, Tampa Bay. I said all that to say the NFC East plays a different style of game. If Cowboys can't beat the 49ers, nobody else left it. You got to have Purdy go to and potentially win the Super Bowl. Your whole quarterback theory is going to be shot then.
I just want to say this just real quick. The 49ers franchise grows quarterbacks on trees. Other franchises, they can't get the quarterback situation right. They fall over backwards doing it wrong. Right?
I think the 49ers got lucky, Freezy. I think if they ran Trey Lance out there every night, you would have saw that tree concept would have run into a bunch of lumber, because Trey Lance wasn't getting it done like that. The boy couldn't throw the ball. He couldn't throw the ball out.
That's what I told Hoodie Cab 2 days ago, that the 49ers get lucky. Teams get lucky in the NFL, but in a baseball thing though, bro, you can have 2 or 3 of the best pitchers ever and still not win the World Series. And my example is
the Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves and the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles had Jim Palmer, Steve Stone, all those dudes. They had 4 20-game winners and did not win the World Series. Right? The Minnesota Twins had Frank Tanana and Jack Morris going up against the Braves with 8 stud pitchers, right? And the Minnesota Twins beat them in the World Series, right? What I'm saying to you, ultimately what I'm getting at, man, is you got to be fundamentally sound everywhere, because baseball is a 1-run game. Basketball, you score 100. Basketball, you might see 300 points in a night from 2 teams, right? In baseball, you might see somebody win 1-0, right?
See 4 games.
And in football, you can see a 350-pound man pick up a fumble and score and get 6 whole points. But Pete Alonso, hooks a slider down the left field line, he gets 1 point for that.
The problem baseball has, Freezy, is this. And it's worse than basketball, and basketball's close. Football don't have that much of a problem. Their postseason and the regular season is night and flipping day.
Right.
So why have this 162 game postseason? Even though the postseason for the Major League Baseball goes on forever. It really does. But why have this long 162 game season when really it's why don't they shorten that up to 90 games, 100 games, and get into and take more teams into the postseason? I think that would make the game better. I think it really would. And then you would bring out your stars better.
Right.
And
I was just going to say just real quick, Hoodie Cav, the example that you gave for the Cubs and the White Sox and the Red Sox and the Mets, the reason why you don't see as diverse of a World Series championship, that's why it's impressive for the Mets to have been to the World Series 5 times in 61 years, is because up until 2000, so to speak, you didn't have a wild card. So if you didn't win your division, you weren't making the playoffs. So even if you won 100 games and the other team won 101, you was going home. That's why teams hadn't won the World Series back then. It's not because the Cubs. It's not because the Cubs wasn't good.
It was access. It was access.
You got to be in it to win it. That's why. And so with the Mets,
sure, I know for a fact that the Cubs had plenty of chances in the postseason.
Okay.
During that 107 years.
They did have a guy, Bartman, with a Walkman. Remember the guy with the Walkman?
In my lifetime, in the postseason, not make it.
But the guy with the Walkman? Every team. Yeah, Bartman.
Remember Bartman, Kev?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in 2003.
But Hoodie Kev, you've seen all right, so you've seen the Cubs mess up, right? But you've also seen the Texas Rangers make it, right? And they didn't win it, right? Yes. That was recently. Remember David Freese hit the walk-off home run?
Yeah.
Against the Rangers?
0 World Series in their franchise history.
Right, and you saw the Detroit Tigers go with the big first baseman.
Miguel Cabrera?
Miguel Cabrera. And remember all of them? They went to the World Series.
They had to catch them.
Yeah. Yeah, and they lost to the Cardinals in the World Series, bro.
I also seen Miguel Cabrera win a World Series with the at the time, the Florida
Marlins. Right.
And they beat the Yankees.
Right. But they didn't beat the Yankees.
With Stanton.
Yeah. And they didn't beat the Yankees with playing small ball. They beat the Yankees by outspending the Yankees. Yes. The Florida Marlins built a 1-year championship level team, won the World Series, and tore it down the very next year. You remember that team, Gary Sheffield, they got from San Diego?
No, that was the 97 team.
Yeah, that 97.
I'm talking about the 2000.
They did it twice. Team.
Right. So
still.
they.
No,
so
the
97 don't count.
No, I'm talking about because Miguel Cabrera was on the 97 team. He was on the 2003 team.
Yeah, but Steinbrenner was trying to do it every year.
You were talking about the 97 team.
And sell off like crypto.
When they had Sheffield and
Bonilla,
and
Conan
and Renteria, and all those players.
Luis Castillo and all of
Charles
Johnson, yeah. So ultimately, what I'm saying, Kev, is winning the World Series is hard, man. Just because you get Carlos Correa doesn't guarantee you that you win a championship. What wins you a championship is consistent play from day 1 to day 200.
See, here's my thing, and
I'm sorry, not to game 200, but to game
162,
176, 176.
Carlos Correa is as consistent a player there has been in the game, right? And that's what I wanted to say that earlier. I wanted to make that point is, regardless of there's certain in every sport, most times, 9 times out of 10, you know what you're getting from certain players, right? like when I know for a fact I can expect 35 to 40 home runs, a full healthy season from Pete Alonso. I know this. At this point, I know that's what I'm going to get from Pete Alonso. I know that I'm going to get sub 3 ERA from Max Scherzer. I know this because that's what he's done.
Okay.
Like I know Jeff McNeil is going to be back
300.
over 300. I know that because that's what he's done. Like there's certain times like okay, I know what to expect from these players. In any sport, like I know in basketball, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get me 30 points a night. You know, I know this.
Okay.
I know Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for 4,000 yards.
Okay.
You can go in blind and know what certain players are going to do.
Right.
Right. And so when you have a player like Carlos Correa, it's like, okay, I know what Carlos Correa is going to give me. Like,
right.
I know this.
When he's healthy. Yeah.
When he's healthy.
Yeah, when he's healthy.
I know that here's my thing.
But he's not in the playoffs every year. And you want to win multiple championships.
Hold on. Because that's an unfair thing. And that's an unfair thing in every sport to say that one player is his
it's not fair to LeBron James and Michael Jordan and what's that boy over for the Yankees?
But my thing is
Derek
Jeter. It ain't fair to Wayne Gretzky.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah, so you can't sit here and say,
well, now those are guys you got to get though, Kev.
You can't sit here and say,
and Carlos Correa might not be that.
You aren't in the playoffs, so that means, you know, you aren't up here on this level.
So
my favorite basketball player of all time has no championship rings.
If Carlos Correa was
Altuve, NBA championship.
Altuve, what's his name? Down in Houston.
Altuve.
If Correa was Altuve, they would have gave him that contract, no question. But he's not that. He can't. He's not proven to you that his health records aside, he's going to lead you to multiple championships. And I understand you're going to say
Carlos Correa does have a championship.
I understand, but he's not going
to. Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve just won his second championship.
Yeah, but he leads. But he leads you to the world. But he leads you to the world.
Is not just Jose Altuve. They have a loaded franchise.
You're not seeing what I'm saying.
Their pitching, their starting rotation, their bullpen, their offense, their defense. So it's not just Jose Altuve. Sometimes you have to be in. Like you put Jose Altuve in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Pirates ain't winning the World Series just because they got Jose Altuve.
And that's my point. My point is you got to be careful how you build the Mets. He can't go out and drink like a drunken sailor. To say that you got the best right side, left side that ever played the game, that gets you what? You got to make sure he's got the depth in the bullpen, which was shaky last year. Third base is not helping that. You got to make sure that you got depth in the outfield. And guess what we didn't have last year? Once September came, we couldn't hit the baseball. We couldn't hit the baseball for shit.
But Carlos Correa has proven himself to be one of the better postseason hitters.
Okay.
How?
Hey, Hoodie Cat. So what I'm getting at is I understand the Correa thing doesn't solve Narvaez behind the plate.
He is an excellent pitch framer.
Pitch framer.
Yeah. Yeah.
A elite pitch framer at that.
Yeah, I love me some Cam, yo. He go with the low hanging fruit and be proud of himself, yo. He said he framed pitches well. Boy, I wish you're lucky my camera's broke.
No, because here's the thing.
Now, Cam. I be like, I can frame some pictures too, but I can't pull nobody on that second base.
Right.
Thomas Nido is a great defensive catcher. No, hold on. Narvaez is a good defensive catcher. Don't get me wrong when I say he's not. He's a very good defensive catcher also. Thomas Nido is a Gold Glove finalist. I saw Max Scherzer take him to the how the old folks said, the woods said. I don't know. I am not good at euphemisms.
Take me to the water.
Not
Take him
the
to
water.
the woodshed.
Take him to the woodshed.
Oh, you talking
I'm
about
pretty
a frat term? Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure Uncle Freezy saw that same thing
Radish.
because Thomas Nito, because we all know Max Scherzer at this advanced age, he's getting kind of Greg Maddoxy, but he needs the, he needs the, a little help because you're not supposed to throw strikes. You want to throw balls and make them look like strikes.
Okay.
And he ripped into Thomas Nito. Now, Omar Narvaez, he's not going to have that problem because he's an elite pitch framer.
So long as you can keep Scherzer happy, you can't throw nobody out at second base.
Right.
As long as you can keep, and you can't get up there and bat.
What's you got to throw somebody out of second base if nobody's on second base because you're striking out everybody?
Stop.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should pay Narvaez the $43 million.
Maybe.
All right, y'all. I got to get out of here to get some din, man. I got to get out of here and get some dinner.
Great show, y'all.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for coming out and hanging out with us. Thank you for everybody viewing, man. Make sure y'all smash that like button. This has been All Messed Up, man. I'm going to try to do this more often. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace, y'all.
Holler at y'all later.